This video explains how to find a carrier or add a new carrier to the carrier database, then set the carrier as a preferred carrier, then review the parameters to manage that carrier profile. To set preferred carriers, first go to the Assets tab and then go to the carrier database. In North America, we pre-populated the carrier database with over 8,000 records that we imported from the FMCSA database. If a carrier record in this table has a valid DOT number, we will reach out to the FMCSA every night to see if anything has changed with regards to their authority or their address. If they are authorized, you'll see the word authorized beside their TOT number. If they are a broker, you will see the word broker beside their DOT number. If they are not authorized, you'll see the word not authorized beside their DOT number. The system goes to the FMCSA every night and determines if there is a change in their authorization. Clicking on the DOT number in the table will open up the FMCSA site showing the information on that site. Drilling into the carrier record opens up the particulars about that carrier: name, address, city, state, zip, phone numbers, preferred language. It'll show their DOT number and whether they're authorized, and it'll also show a history button. When you click on the history, it will identify how many records of history we have stored with regards to changes to this particular company. You can click on the See History button to see the history behind any particular segment that we collect. For example, in this segment, it shows the history of the total number of drivers and the inspections for the drivers and the power units. Let's say you wanted to set a preferred carrier with the name of Victor A, but you could not find that company in the carrier database. The fastest way to do this if they are an FMCSA carrier is to search and create from the FMCSA. Get their DOT number, put the DOT number there, and do the search. This will bring up the information from the FMCSA. You can then quickly create the record from the FMCSA database. This will save you time from having to type in the information manually. There are two carrier lists: the carrier database, which we copy from FMCSA and manage nightly, and the preferred carriers, which is a subset of that list. Preferred carrier is a list of carriers that you do business with. You either broker freight to them or they broker freight to you. There are two ways to set a carrier as preferred. One way is to right-click on the carrier name and say set that carrier as preferred. The other way is when you drill into the carrier, there's a green button at the top that says set as preferred. When you set as preferred, the record will be created based on what information you have in your template. The first setting identifies if they are an approved carrier for you or not. This is based on your company's process for approving and vetting outside carrier partners. Then you must identify whether you use them as a carrier or not. If they are an approved carrier and you use them as a carrier is set to yes, you can dispatch to this carrier. If either of these are not set to approved or yes, you cannot dispatch to this carrier. The setting will you accept freight they broker to you has to be yes for you to be able to receive freight from them. Two other settings are important here is how you manually rate this company as a carrier. So you can choose from one of 10 different options. Likewise, you can rate how they are as a broker. You have 5 different rating options here. These rating options are visible only to you and your internal staff. When you go to your preferred carrier list, it will identify all the carriers where you can broker freight. That's assuming that they are turned as preferred yes, and the carrier status is approved. I like to take the carrier ranking and keep it over close to the actual carrier name so I can see the quality of the carrier beside the carrier name. When I go to broker or load and search for carriers, I can quickly see all my preferred carriers, their DOT data, and my ranking of those carriers. Only carriers with the status of approved and with the setting that I can broker freight to them equals yes will be in this list. When you create a preferred carrier, you can set some of the default values for your settings based on a template. To find the template, go to the blue Actions dropdown and choose Edit Template from either the preferred carriers or the carriers list. The values that you can edit in the template will be what will be the default carrier status. Add a new preferred carrier. Likewise, do we use them as a carrier, and will we accept freight that they broker to us? Those 3 options can be preset, so every time you create a new preferred carrier, those values will be put into the preferred carrier key information. You can also manage your carrier's compliance data. Go to the Compliances link, click on Add New, and choose the compliance or insurance, etc. type that you want. Compliance information is explained in other videos, But let's say that we wanted to add automobile liability for this particular carrier. We could store the start date and end date of their insurance policy, give it a reference number, the country where the underwriter wrote the insurance, the amount of the insurance, the currency of the insurance, and other particulars about the insurance, including you could upload a copy of the insurance document and save the record. Now we have an insurance record for this particular carrier, which shows up in their profile. You can keep a lot of compliance-related information about your carriers, and depending on the rules for the compliance, you can actually prevent, warn, or ignore the out-of-compliance situation when dispatching to this preferred carrier. In summary, to create a preferred carrier, find the carrier you want in the large generic database, right-click, set them as preferred, and then edit their profile to update their carrier status, whether you use them as a carrier or whether they will broker freight to you, and then also update their ranking as a carrier and as a broker. Thanks for watching this video on setting your preferred carriers.